All righty, welcome everyone. Welcome to the third video on SJG. So today we got a special guest, as you normally know. It's myself and Jaydizzler, and we have special guest Palace this time joining us to review our 5 hands here. So welcome, Scott.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
All righty. All right, so I picked the 5 hands for this. So I won't be providing any commentary on this video today. I'm going to leave that all up to Jason and Scott here to provide commentary. So let's go ahead and let's jump into the first hand. Here we go. All right. So just pause it right there. We've got 7 people at the table. We got Stig on the big blind, and Jay, you're in this hand, so I don't know if you're going to remember it or not, but let's go ahead and if you do end up remembering this, we'll give Scott the chance here to do some analysis here. So all right, so pretty standard board, or pretty everyone just checks around, so nothing major. 4 people to the flop, and we've got Stig on the button. So Jay, you're up first. You check. All right. So nothing crazy here so far. Pretty just kind of feeling out, it looks like.
Not much to go on. Yeah.
Not much to go on. All right. So here's where it gets a little interesting. We've got Liam here, leads out with 350 on the turn. Stig calls. And then Merv with a 3x raise. All right. And now we get both Liam and Stig to call. All right. So what are you guys thinking here?
So I don't remember this hand at all.
Well, that's good.
But Liam hardly ever leads pot like that. And Merv generally doesn't check raise without a monster. But I'm surprised on the Stig call for sure. So it's really hard to put him on hands. What do you think, Scott?
Well, yeah, I think Liam has a piece when he bet pot, and I agree with you about Murph. I'd be pretty frightened at this point. So, I mean, does he really have 5-7? I don't know about that, but could be an 8, could be a high-ish pair, not aces or kings, but like 9-10 jack or something like that.
I mean, 5-7 does make sense for Merv in the small blind there. And
it does, but I thought only Simone gets those draws.
I like that.
All righty.
No, but most likely Merv has an 8 here. I'd be, if I was Liam, sometimes limps big pairs, and he could be overplaying like kings or queens. I would be folding aces here against Merv. Like,
okay,
insta fold aces here against Merv.
Insta fold aces on that. On the
check raise.
On the check raise, the 3x check raise. Okay, fair enough. Okay, now we get an ace. Now we get an ace on the river here, and
huge.
Merv goes all in.
That's an overbet, right?
Wow. That's a total. Yeah, the total. It's a $35 pot, and he puts his entire stack in for 60.5 here. I mean, Liam's only got 350 behind, so I got to assume he's going to call. And all right. now I'm gonna pause.
Oh, well, I think I would have folded to the big bet, but it's possible that Stig has a flush. He could have called on the turn with a flush draw and they got there.
Yeah,
I didn't even think of that. That's good.
Yeah.
Most likely though, Merv has pocket 4s or pocket 6s, and Stig has ace 8, I think. That's my feel.
All right, let's check it out.
Oh, they're sixes. Oh, I told you he limps aces.
Wow, what an amazing hand.
Wow.
This hand, when I saw this hand, I was like, oh my God.
Dude, Palace is right too. Look,
Yeah.
clubs, right? I called the sixes and the aces, but I didn't call the clubs.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, Stig just gets wrecked here. I mean,
But I'm
What a
not sure I
turn.
make that call even on the river. Your flush gets there and both other people like their hands.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, that
Essentially, 7-8 of clubs here is a bluff catcher, right?
yes.
The only thing Merv could be betting for value here that he beats is King 8, right? Because Ace 8 gets there. 4-4,
Ace 8
6,
gets
6.
there. Yep.
He chops with every other 8, right? Yeah, he chops every single other 8 because the ace plays now.
So the only thing I was thinking of when I saw this hand was that the only hand that Stig could put Merv on would have to be 5-7 here out of the small blind.
That's the only hand he beats that does that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then does he overbet the river with 5-7? That's the question.
Does he overbet the river with 5-7? Yeah, I think that is an overbet to the river because let's say Merv did have 5-7, but I'm gonna rep a higher flush with I'm gonna rep a high flush with this, or possibly a boat. So I mean, that's the only thing that could be going through Stig's mind.
So
But
you're
that is
saying that would be turning his straight into a bluff, though, right? That'd be pretty courageous.
Yeah.
What a hand.
But I mean, Stig's way ahead on the flop, and then just gets wrecked for this run out, and I was just brutal hand there.
DFMR.
Yes.
Running bad.
Yeah. All righty.
That's awesome.
Let's check
What a
out the
great
second hand here. All right, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players on the table with Joe on the button. We get a bunch of calls all around. And Mayo then in the big blind decides to go to 450 with everyone calling. So and pretty much Mayo is good enough to pull everyone into to call. So we've got basically a $25 pot, into the going into the flop here, and Mayo leads out for roughly 2/3. So what are we thinking here so far before I keep going?
From my perspective, Mayo could have just about anything. I don't have a lot of good conclusions just because he plays this way, and it's part of his strength.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he gets paid off so often when he hits it, right?
Yep.
But yeah, he can literally have any 2 cards. He could have 2 pair right here. He could have the overpair.
Yeah.
He could have a stubborn ace king type thing.
Yep. So we get Diz to call. Stig calls. And everyone else folds. So now we get a jack on the turn. And now Mayo's in here for half pot.
Yeah. So okay. So, wow. I don't know. I find myself thinking about what Diz and Stig have more than what Mayo has, but I still have Mayo on just about anything. Let's hope he wasn't playing with jacks, because now he's got a really good hand.
Yeah.
Raise. Wow.
And then Diz comes with a straight 2x raise.
Okay. Well, I mean, he's got to have something. could have a pair and a flush draw. Hey, my power just came back on. That's nice. Could have a set that he was waiting on, that it was a little set that there was no reason not to
Yeah.
show it yet.
Yeah,
My two bets.
I like
That's what I
that.
was thinking. The jack doesn't change much, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
complete any draws. So your first instinct is he was slow playing something on the flop, right? 7-6 or a set. Mayo continuing again is pretty strong against all these players. If I were Stig, I'd have to call now with a flush draw because I'm getting the right price.
Yep.
But I also agree that my first feel is Diz is not bluffing. He probably slow played something on the flop. And then once again, I'd have no idea what Mayo has.
Yeah, and knowing what I know, knowing what we all know about Diz, a straight 2x raise from Diz. It's inviting at least Mayo to call, or
He wants a call. He wants a call.
Yeah. Because he's not trying to outright win it. So I don't think he's got, the one hand I would just kind of throw away would be like pocket threes. Like, he wants to try and take it down right now. So Stig folds.
Good.
If you're listening to this, Dave, good job. And Mayo makes the call. And then we get a jack,
Ooh.
and then we get a jack on the river. And so as you can see here, Diz has got $16 left. Mayo shoves.
Yeah, river really doesn't matter. I mean, there's still like 5% left to put into the pot, right?
The only way it could matter is if two pair just got beat by the jack of hearts.
Yeah.
But I'm still calling. I don't, even with like ace high, because
Yeah.
there's a chance he has a missed flush draw. That's why.
And it's only $16.
Yeah, it's only $16
Exactly.
into effectively a $220 pot. So yes, I mean,
I
Diz
make
could have,
$16 an hour. So that's,
Yeah.
I can afford.
Diz Diz could have ace 2 here and he has to call it. So
But he doesn't, right? He has a full house.
he calls. So I'm gonna pause right there before we see Diz's hand. So Mayo with flush draw, top pair, hits trips on the river.
He totally played it right. I'm not sure
Yeah.
he's going to win, but I mean,
Absolutely plays it right.
Oh, God.
He flopped the joint.
That's gross.
Flopped the
Oh,
absolute
I
joint.
mean, just a sick hand from Diz. I mean, plays limps with 4-5 suited. Nothing wrong with that. Under the gun in it.
Yeah.
And then so Mayo pre-flop gets it to 450. And Diz thinks it's a good price. So he calls it, and with his suited connector, and hits the lottery.
I think what we all knew there was that Diz had a monster.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
that
but
we
you
knew.
can't fault Mayo with the jack and the flush draw.
No, I'd have lost all the same money Mayo did, but we all knew there was a monster below him.
I mean, there was nothing Mayo could do here. I mean, he just got the perfect run out to help Diz make as much money as possible. I mean, that's just a brutal hand.
Mayo played this sort of like Omaha 8, right? He has a strong drawing hand.
Yep.
He tried to build the pot, and then he flopped the monster draw. Mayo's Omaha play comes out in here, and then he just kind of gets stuck there. He may want to consider checking the turn, though, just because when two people call on a 6-way multi-hand board this deep, you may want to have some checks in your range that are pretty strong like that, and try to keep the pot small. Once the river comes, he's stuck anyway. So
yeah.
Anyway.
So the extra. So if he checks the turn, the question is, does Diz lead out for something to build the pot himself? And I think he probably does.
Yeah.
And I think it probably wouldn't have been 36. It probably would have been something maybe a little smaller. And, so Mayo probably would have saved himself maybe $20-$30 at the end here. But at the same time, I mean, if the run out's the same, Mayo still probably would have shoved and probably still lost the same amount on the river. So I mean,
it's just a cooler, really.
it's just a,
I think you need to think in that situation. If I bet and I get raised, what am I going to do? So if I think I'm in Mayo's position, I think I check because I bet the 35 or whatever dollars it was. If I get raised there, I don't like where I'm at all.
Yeah. I mean, it's different if it was 7-6-2, where it's not very connected and your hearts are definitely live and your jack could be good.
well,
But
I mean, if he
there's-
got raised though, I mean, he's sitting with top pair and 4 to a flush. He's got I think we're all calling that. So I don't think any of us here fault Mayo.
I think me and Scott
we
are
all
both
play the same amount.
Yeah, I think me and Scott are both talking about keeping the pot smaller in this situation, though, if you can, just to minimize the damage. It's just a weird spot out of position.
Yeah, but aggressive players like myself and Mayo, I'm not sure we were keeping the pot small.
I mean, yeah, and this is Mayo's strength, right? If he hits the flush, he's going to get paid because everyone knows how crazy Mayo plays.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of unlucky that it happened to be just a jack.
Yeah. It's just a brutal run out for Mayo in this hand. So
yeah, me and Scott are nittier than you and Mayo. So
all right. Next hand.
2 great hands there, Jay.
Thank you. All right. So
Put one with Scott in it.
we got a full
Do it.
table of 9.
no.
So actually, so you're in this hand, Diz, and yeah. So here we go. So let us know if you remember this hand or not. All right. So let me get a little more. All right. So we have some initial checks or initial limps around the table. Billy says, screw that. From the button, he's going on, going to make this 250. And pretty much everyone in the world calls him, except for King Roman, except for John. All right. So let's go to the flop. We got a flop of Queen 4-2. Estang 72 leads out for 1/3 pot.
Oh.
Billy folds, but Ben here, Blamit, comes along. So now we're down to 2.
Well, I have S-Dang on a king queen.
I think that's fair.
I think I think someone who leads out into the pre-flop raiser is trying to see if their queen is good a lot of the time.
Yep.
And then blame it. You just kind of have to put them on a draw.
On a club draw, or possibly he's sitting with 3-5, especially
3-5
out of the small blind.
Yeah.
A 9.
I'm not
Pretty
sure I
much-
believe the 3-5. I don't think I would have called the pre-flop $2.
Yeah, well, you're not Ben Palace. If that's me and you there, we fold the small blind.
Well, with all of those players in.
Yeah.
All right. So 9, pretty much a brick, I think, regardless. So Estang comes out with slightly more than half pot.
Feeling a little better about my queen.
Feeling a little better about my king, queen, maybe. Ace, queen. Limit calls. Now I'm thinking they both have queens. I don't know about you guys, but
You could, if you got the draw on the bottom, I guess you could have a queen with a couple of clubs, but
But you're right. I mean, Ben could be thinking my 10 queen is good here because, Dan could be just leading out with a club draw. Like
Yeah.
they could be thinking the opposites, but one is just out kicked. This is why queen 10, if you have queen 10, is not good from the small blind. Playing
Yeah.
that hand out of position is just trouble. Honestly, I'd fold the turn with queen 10 here, I think.
and now the club draw gets there.
Let's
And
see who
now-
leads out.
Yeah. So Blamit checks. Dang, what do you do? What do you do? Leads
That's
out for 35.
That's a value bet.
Yeah.
no. I'm having a hard time believing he bet flop and turn on the draw like that, but I could be
Yeah,
wrong.
I mean, S dang here is pretty much 3-barreling the entire time here. So I mean, he's basically saying I've got at least a queen here.
Maybe he's got queen jack. Maybe I had it the wrong direction.
Yeah.
He either has queen jack or clubs.
Yeah.
A lot of the time. He's not betting king queen here anymore. I
Yeah.
don't think.
Correct. Yeah. I think king queen check. I think king queen checks that down. And
even ace queen checks it down.
So,
even
yeah,
even
even-
kings
even-
checks it.
yeah. But so
But-
he's saying
yeah.
I got something. And
Check raise. Let's go.
Willamette raises, check raises.
You have to figure that's the flush.
Yeah. I think you have to figure that's the flush.
And now you have to decide, what am I going to call, since I should have checked it down initially.
Well, I think it's got to be clubs over clubs now. I don't. Do you fold queen jack here, Scott? If you're dang,
I wouldn't have bet.
$20.
I would have checked it.
Yeah, that's true. Man, but I think that's such a good value bet against king queen. I don't know. But then yeah, now you're in this position.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, we haven't played too long with Blamit here. Relatively new. So, you know, he could have, let's suppose he just has a queen and he checked it and he was fine getting to showdown if they'd both checked it. He saw that S-Dang put a value bet out there. Does he have it in his game to put a check raise in here with just a queen to represent the flush?
I just realized S-Dang only has $20 left. So
Right.
yes, it's going to call, and B, you can't really bluff into that $20 because you have to figure you get a call.
Yeah.
You have no fold equity with no. They're no longer deep enough to do that.
So now I really think the flushes is at the bottom.
I think they both have flushes. They have to. I think.
All right, let's check it out.
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Totally makes sense.
Yeah,
Totally
we
makes
just,
sense.
we just didn't catch he had both the queen and the flush draw, but other than that, we were in pretty good shape.
Yeah.
Wow, that's rough. What a river of all rivers.
Yeah. Just a brutal river. I mean, you know, if the nine doesn't come on the turn, there's no way Blamit can continue.
I don't know. Man,
He can't make that call. He can't make that call on the turn unless that nine comes.
How much was it? How much was the turn bet?
Let's go back and check.
I think he bet 18, like half into half pot.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. He bet like half pot into it.
Right, but I would have called $14 to see my third club 5
Yeah.
days.
But I'm saying if that nine doesn't come, you're still calling with ace nine if it wasn't a 9 on the turn.
Yeah, I'm paying $14 to see if my ace
All right.
flushes.
Fair enough.
Yeah, there's so many implied odds of hitting a higher club than someone else's club. That said, that's why I don't like playing that hand out of position either. And it's also why I don't like queen 8 of clubs in early position either.
Yeah.
But I'm in it, so I only play 3 hands, and I
wonder right after the flop when, you know, with the board of queen 4-2 and you're S-Dang and you've got queen 8, should he have just overbet the pot to just try and win it outright?
Well, how much was in it? You get $8. I don't know. That's a pretty peach draw. I
So
don't know.
yeah, I think a pot size bet on the turn or bigger is a nice bet. You're giving the wrong price. You're letting them make a lot of mistakes if they're calling with flush draws at that point. If you're also forcing hands like queen 10 that have you beat in a really tough spot that has to fold. So I like Jay's line of small bet on flop, big bet on the turn.
Maybe the turn bet wasn't big enough.
Yeah, I think that's what Jay was saying. He was
Yeah.
betting pot or over betting the turn. It's nice.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice bet.
All righty. Let's go to the next hand.
I mean, these just seem like coolers, but there's still a lot to analyze. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, Palace versus Jaydizzler hand. Let's do it.
I hope it's not that one hand. We're not going to speak of that hand.
I don't even
All
remember.
right.
what you're talking about, but that'd be awesome.
All right, so we've got 7 here. I'm in the big blind, Simone on the button, Diz on the small blind, Ryan, Stig, Merv, and Journey. So we've got some limps around. Stig with a $3 bet into that. Journey calls. And
Ooh.
3 callers or 2 callers. Right. So let's pause right here. So the Stig on the flop comes out with 3 on an ace queen 4 diamond connected board. Journey calls, Ryan calls, and now we've got a very connected board. And Stig puts out another pot size bet. So
Well, if I'm playing this straight up, I have Stig on a ace rag of diamonds.
yeah, ace something of diamonds. Yeah, I would totally agree. So
Well, it was a limped pot, right?
yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a limp pot. So
in general, the person betting pot and the people calling, the person betting pot has a value hand, and people calling generally has a drawing hand, right?
Yep.
I don't know if we specifically have to put them on diamonds though, but I agree with it's an ace plus type hand. It could be 2 pair, or it could be any ace.
Yeah.
But Ryan overcalling would make me nervous because Ryan's actually tighter than people give him credit for.
Yep. So Journey folded. So I'm kind of thinking she probably just maybe had a lone queen there and decided to continue for 3. But then when the next bet came out, obviously she believes that her queen is beat. That's what I'm thinking. But
That's fair.
That's about fair. Oh, here's the check raise.
now we get the check raise.
So once again, the deuce doesn't change anything. So your first thought has to be that Ryan has flopped something, right?
Yep.
I mean, I guess he's repping ace deuce or queen deuce, but in general, those are still in trouble. So
he doesn't have rampage here.
Right, he can have rampage here.
He could have rampage here. He could have an ace 4 here. So let's see what happens. And then Stig shoves.
Let's go.
Stig shoves for, effectively covering Ryan.
So that looks like ace X of diamonds though, for sure.
And obviously Ryan calls. He has to at that point. So,
but if you have ace X of diamonds there, aren't you just calling to get to the river? Are you really going to shove?
I'm not. I'm probably even checking the turn just because I want to realize my equity. I want to see it. I want to get that free card, and I don't think I have any fold equity at that point. As soon as I bet and I get check raise small, I probably just smooth call, just try to realize my equity.
Yeah, I think I think if I were Stig on the turn here, and if I had, let's say I had ace 7, ace 8 of diamonds here, yeah, I probably would have checked the turn as well, because your kicker isn't that great, and you're trying to get that free card for the flush. But at least that's what I would have done.
If we're playing guess in the dark, Stig could have the ace 2 of diamonds against a set of 4s right here.
Yeah.
Ooh.
That's possible as well. Yeah, I mean, it could have been.
That's what I think. That's something me and Scott would both shove with ace deuce of diamonds here.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the only combos we're going to shove here with. That's a flush draw.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's see how it all plays out. 6 is a brick.
Boring.
Oh, rampage.
Hell of a call.
For-
Does he have rampage there?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Yes.
So the question is, sorry, DMFR. Do you continue with ace 4 here once your check raise on the turn?
You block the 4 though. You can't have both the other 4s.
You do block the 4. That's a really good point.
You'd be sitting there going, no way.
Yeah, in a limped pot, he doesn't have queens or aces, right?
Correct.
And you block the 4. Okay, hear me out. Though the way Ryan plays it, it kind of looks like deuces. I don't know. He wouldn't call the flop with deuces, but you block the 4. That's a really good point. God.
Yeah.
What else could he have though?
It's rough.
Ace deuce, right? Yeah, no, you're right. I think, oops. I think the 4 blocker makes a huge difference. I think if there's another baby out there, you can fold it.
This was an interesting hand. This was a total interesting hand when I looked it up in the hand history and I saw the betting and I was just like, oh, I could totally see why Stig shoves and why he's because he's now effectively trying to, hey, maybe Ryan's got an ace diamond, ace X a diamond here, and he's trying to get to, he's representing, hey, I'm going to play for the flush. And so Stig's like, hey, I'm going to shove. I've got 2 pairs. So now I'm trying to protect against the flush. And hopefully, if the flush,
that's probably exactly what he's thinking.
If the flush doesn't come, then, I've got a huge pot that I'm going to win. So, but yeah, that was just a brutal.
But I mean, the big mistake, right, is limping behind with ace 4 offsuit. I think it just sets you up in these terrible situations.
Yeah.
Not that we don't want people to play, give us action with these type of things, but in general, I'm only limping with ace 4 suited there. If I'm going to have an ace 4 in any combo.
Yeah. It's just one of those times where, just the limp with ace 4, put him in a really bad position there. So. All righty. Last hand.
That was rough.
Rough hand.
Flop. That was a cooler flop, though. As soon as he sees the flop, he's in trouble.
Yeah.
He beats ace deuce, though. That's the only hand he beats.
Well, he beats any ace X as well. So that
I just don't see Ryan check min
raise. Yeah.
I mean, if he was gonna semi bluff with ace diamonds, I think he would have done it on the flop more likely instead of waiting to the turn to delayed value like one of my good friends does.
Yeah. Who is that? I have no idea who you're talking about. Delayed value.
I don't know. He has a handsome name though.
All righty. Here we go. So I'm on the button.
Big raise.
Vigo, Diz, Ozzy, Buster, and Blamit. So from 1, and I make it 8 on the button. We get folds and we get Blamit to call. And we go to the flop and we've got 7-7 queen. So pretty interesting board here. Blamit checks.
Continue. Ooh. That wasn't
alarm bells.
Yeah, that's scary as shit.
So I checked.
You bet.
Blamit checks and I check. Now, first of all, let's just know the software has the pot size wrong here. So there's really just about $17, some dollars in the pot here. So
okay, so let's pause for a second, right? So you do this big raise and then you don't follow. So I'm thinking you either have ace king and you missed it and you're just going to see a free card, or you have queens and you just flopped an absolute monster.
Yeah. Dude, Jay has quads and pocket queens here so freaking often. It's ridiculous. I mean, he'll see bet ace king, ace queen. Jay will probably see bet pocket threes here so often. But I mean, that is scary when, I mean, unless Jay's changing things up lately and he's checking to represent a monster later, alarm bells have to be going off right now.
If I'm Blamit, I better have a darn good hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figure when I decided to pull this hand and I knew I was going to be talking to you guys today, and I'm just like, they're going to see this check on the flop. This is exactly the conversation I knew that was going to happen.
Well, now you can change it up, right? I mean, now you can check back, raise kings, and then raise the turn. But
all right.
But this is pocket queens like so often.
Let's keep going.
Oh, no.
So Blamit now leads out for effectively half pot here. The software is wrong here in terms of pot size, but Blamit leads out for half pot. and I call.
Red lights.
Run, Ben, run. Old Ben. Well, he hasn't played with you as long as we have.
That's
You know,
fair. That is totally fair.
He think this looks, you're playing against a normal dude. That looks like ace king, right? I want to get a cheap showdown with my ace high. I check behind for some pot control. And we just know Jay so well. I mean,
Yeah.
Well, if we're right, this is going to be trouble because Blamit got his little ace. I mean, he's way behind.
unless he has pocket aces.
Fair point.
Limp call with pocket aces is possible.
Limp call with pocket aces. Do you think Blamit would do that? I don't know, man. We haven't played with him that long, but limp call with pocket aces, that's possible, especially since I went to 8 pre-flop.
Yeah.
So,
That's something Simone might do. He might do something tricky like that.
yeah. And so Blamit,
We're both so scared for Ben.
But I don't really like this bet.
Yeah. So
Unless
if you have ace king here, you have a bluff catcher, right? You're gonna want to check call, right?
That bet is, I really want a call or a raise.
So if he does bet that, what does he have that he wants a call? What does he have?
Oh,
What happened on the
what's the size
flop?
of the real pot? What's the real size of the pot here?
So 8 into 17. So this is a pot size bet effectively.
Okay.
Sorry, Scott, you're saying, what
What was the betting on the flop? I can't remember.
it's check, remember?
Okay, this is looking like A7 suited now for Ben, and he just got cold deck, I think. I don't know. I just don't limp call with A7 so often.
$8 call pre-flop with an A7. Really?
7-8 suited and 7-6 suited are really enticing against, especially, okay, we don't know where setspike's at, because setspike sometimes has like these huge winning nights, but there's also nights where he's down a couple hundred.
Yeah.
And 7-6 suited plays well against a losing setspike.
Yeah, that's possible.
He doesn't lose very often, but when he does, it's possible.
That's
7-6
possible.
suited, it's a good one. Yeah.
I purposely pause it here because we see Blamit's bet, but you guys haven't seen what I did. So,
Okay.
so it's good insight into what we think Blamit has here.
Did you raise?
Yeah. Please call me raised too. I mean, every clue points to pocket queens or pocket sevens. I mean,
Yeah,
if he has a
actually,
7 blocker.
Yeah, I mean, I doubled the raise knowing he's got to have, because he only has 1950 behind, so it's not so.
Okay.
I effectively am putting him all in.
I mean,
So
I'm just thinking about what you're having.
what do we think the hands are? What do we think Ben has, and what do we think I have?
Well, I mean, maybe you have ace queen, but I gotta think you have 2 queens. Just because that would have been an $8 raise pre-flop, and the line is consistent with queens. And if you're up against A7, that's gonna hurt.
Think about Jay though. The size of the bet also tells me he wanted to take it down pre sometimes, so he can do that with sevens. So pocket sevens versus ace queen is my bet.
Okay, here we go. Let's look at it.
A7 suited was right. Pocket queens was Scott. Nick, you guys have known each other since you were babies, so
Scott and I may have played a few poker hands together.
That's just rough on the flop, right? You're like, I caught a set. It's a rainbow. That is beautiful, and you're crushed.
Yeah, man. Okay, if we're Ben, Scott, knowing what we know about Jay, can we still get away from this hand? Because I don't think so.
I'm going
we
back.
know so much about Jay, but
so $8, I make the call because I have a suited ace. I check the flop because I have a great hand, which I could have bet. I could go either way there, and I get a check back, which doesn't really tell me anything. And then I bet half pot on the turn, and I get called. No, I don't see.
And then you catch your boat on the river.
No, you're giving all your money away. He was lucky he didn't have more to give.
yeah, actually, but do you ever check call on this river, because setspike has so many aces and queens in his range, pocket aces and pocket queens. instead
Yeah,
of betting on the river.
it was only 20 more bucks, and I have a boat. I have to call that.
Yeah, I think that's called the beluga theorem. Back in the day when we used to go on 2+2 forums, did you guys ever do that?
No.
It's just you don't fold boats. That's the only.
Yeah.
That's the whole theorem. I don't know if that's the beluga theorem, but boats are hard to make, so we don't fold boats. That's the whole theorem. You know?
Yeah,
Man.
that was just that was. So this is the only hand I pulled just from last night. This happened last night, and
I feel like I'd be violating the rule of Jason here. Because I would have made the call knowing I was beat.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know what the rule of Jason is, this is something I came up with many years ago. And it's like, if you know you're beat, there's no point giving your opponent money to prove yourself right.
Yeah, I forget who it was. I think it was like a French dude who was just like, "There's no way I could fold." Oh wait, I can. I just click the button. You know.
Yeah.
That's a terrible accent, but yeah. People always say, "There's no way I can fold here." Yeah, you can. Just click the button. But that said, it's boat versus boat. Okay. And Jay, give credit to Jay. I mean, that's a good trap. You got to check.
I don't know that this works against either of you two.
Yeah. I don't know with A7 it does,
but maybe it does because of the nature of the hand and the nature of the run out.
Plus, you know us so well, you might do something opposite.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I played this. I think I played this pretty standard given the flop in the absolute nuts. Well, except for 7-7, and you know, it just turned out to be a pretty bad flop and then a bad river for Ben there.
And only you two saw the flop, right? So that
Correct.
means he got the $1 in, you made it 8, everybody folded, and so he has 7 more to call.
Yeah.
I don't like going heads up with A7 suited out of position either.
True,
So,
but I mean, you got to figure he thought he hit the jackpot on
on the flop I get it.
On the flop, so.
But I hate to harp on pre-flop play, but there's a reason why playing 20% of your hands is probably still the most optimum way of playing.
That's actually a theme for all 5 hands we've looked at here.
Yeah.
Right? The theme
Is that
has
what you
been
did, Jay? Is that what you're teaching us?
The non-premium starting cards got crushed every time.
Especially out of position, right? I think that's what Jay is trying to form a whole theme
You're
here.
trying to teach us, yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. Me and Scott learned a lot.
No, I just picked some interesting hands where I looked and saw where, looking at the hand history from our hand history site that just showed some interesting betting patterns and interesting results. And these are the ones.
I think by far the most interesting was the Mayo hand though, with the Jack-9 suited.
Yeah.
And then the Jack pulls off in the river. I mean, not too many people make that option raise. Remember, he made it 450 and he could have just checked his option.
Yeah.
And then he flops like that. I mean, that's where Mayo gets paid off most of the time. And I do want to say I like this better with Scott here. If Scott can join us more often, and I would like to request a hand where all 3 of us are in, that we could all analyze together. That'd be hard to find, but that'd be so sick.
Yeah, that would be. But this was fun. This was fun. I think I definitely like it better with 3. Jay, I don't know about you, but I definitely like it better with 3.
It's smoother for some reason. It's cleaner. Yeah.
So I'm always happy to host like this and pull people in. But Scott, it was awesome having you. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for letting me come. Good stuff.
Yeah.
That was fun.
All right, fellas. We'll catch you next time on the vlog. I'll get this up and going, get this up and posted ASAP.
All right. See ya.
All
Take
right.
care.
Take care. Bye-bye.